Hey, welcome in.
Welcome to the Arrowhead Addict podcast.
We are here coming to you live. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. You only win a Super Bowl 2 times every 5 years, right? Oh! The warm-up act is over. Let's bring in Melissa Etheridge, massive Chiefs fan. Melissa,
Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, and Trent Green. Trent Green, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
and he picked it up! He picked it up! He's gonna score! And we'll see you next week. But until then, as always, go Chiefs.
Give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Woo! Because your Kansas City Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl. Sterling Holmes, Josh Brisco. You can follow him on the X at JB Brisco. Myself at Homestretch KC. It is Tuesdays with Sterling, and I guess Tuesdays with Sterling and Brisco. Why not? Brisco, how you doing, baby?
It's a little hard to complain about anything involving this particular football team because there are 100 storylines that I think are genuinely really worthwhile. 15, 20, 30 players who I think, if literally or figuratively, got their hand on the ball in that AFC Championship game. And the Kansas City Chiefs are doing a truly unbelievable and undeniable thing. It's awesome.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to already before the show even started, Boston T. Marty. Always appreciate you. Great seeing you out there in Tahoe. That was a lot of fun. But
Fabulous screen
10 memberships. Love that. Wow. Love that already.
So Marty,
helping build this bad boy. And why
CM.
would you want to be a part of this? Which is even better that everyone keeps saying, well, if the Chiefs are playing, I'm not watching football, as they broke every single viewing record when they played the Bills. It's like the whole thing where it's, you know the NFL is rigged. Well, what happens when your team wins? They have like no response. What happened? The NFL is rigged. Then why don't you bet on it? Why do you keep betting against it? It's like their mind just goes into overdrive. It just really makes me laugh. A whole bunch of fun stuff happening in the next few days. Want to keep everyone informed. Looks like we'll be interviewing Rob Gronkowski tomorrow, so that should be really fun. I'm going to ask him. Does he think
best
Travis?
of all time?
Well, I want to ask him. I'm going to ask him. Do you believe that Travis Kelce is a better tight end than you are? I just want to see what he says. I just want to hear it.
Can I suggest how you frame that first?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I think you ought to ask him who the greatest tight end of all time is. And if he says like Tony Gonzalez or anybody before him and Kelce, then just go to 2. And then, how far he has to go until he says either himself or Travis Kelce.
You know what?
I've heard them talk. I've heard him talk about Travis Kelce, so I think this will go well. Like, he is clearly a huge, huge fan of Travis Kelce. And they obviously play the position in different ways. But I think that'll be a good time.
I think that's a good one, as well as, so why does everyone think the Chiefs cheat when, the Patriots had Spygate and Deflategate and the Tuck rule? I think that's going to go over well, right? We're not in the same room as Gronk, so he can't spike me.
I don't even remember who it was, but I asked a former Patriot basically that question ahead of the Patriots. Ahead of the last Patriots Super Bowl, I think. Super Bowl, because the Super Bowl lie was my joke. Having Patriots representation here for Super Bowl lie seems pretty appropriate given all of the scandals or whatever. And he did not care for it or think it was funny or want to engage with it at all. I asked it, I thought, in a joking manner, but it did not pass the smell test for this guy.
All right, Salahathi, that's a good one. Then we'll get into it. Says, I'd watch out for Gronk kicking you, but he always misses kicks. Zinger on the kick of destiny. All right, let's talk about it. Offense. Let's talk about the offense first, because I think the offense is a big storyline. Chiefs offense has struggled for the majority of the season, and maybe struggled is not even the right word, but been inexplosive, struggled to get to 30, got to 30 just twice this year. One was in overtime, one was against Carolina, but they finally scored over 30, and of course, it culminates in a game where they needed to score over 30. What is it with this Chiefs team? I've always been, they don't hold things back that much. I've always thought, like, why doesn't Andy call the good plays? I've always been, come on, guys. They want to win every single game. But now almost does feel at least a little like that, especially that Patrick Mahomes rollout with the designed runs, maybe some of the more intricacies that you do see come playoff time. But what is it about the Chiefs and specifically Patrick, maybe his best game of the season happening in this game when the Chiefs needed it most? How are they able to do this?
I think the thing that we have unequivocal evidence for, there's not a lot of evidence for all of this, right? We have to do some guessing. But the thing that there is unequivocal evidence for is that it is not a coincidence. It is not weird or random or odd that Patrick Mahomes plays his best football under the brightest lights. The Chiefs offense looks its best in the playoffs. We've seen it too often for that to just be statistical noise. I think the actual why is a much harder question and in a lot of ways a much more fun one. Because, yeah, why? I also have always pushed back kind of on the idea that, like, again, like the Chiefs are hiding the good plays, right? That's not true. They work really, 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 really hard over the course of the regular season to get things installed, to get ready to take the 1 seed if possible, to have the easiest road to a Super Bowl. They're aware of all of that. They didn't go 9-8 and then have to win the whole. I guess that wouldn't have been enough. They didn't go
just ask the Bengals.
Exactly. They didn't go 10-7, then have to squeak in the back way. Like this was a dominant regular season by results. I almost phrase that even worse, Sterling. Believe it or not, that was an improvement on what I was about to say. So I do think that can be overstated, but there is a maybe it is, maybe it isn't, like a section at the back of Andy Reid's binder where he's got like A through Z, and then he's got like double X, and then you flip open the double X page divider, and it's Patrick Mahomes designed runs. Andy, you dog! I had no idea that was back here, and it makes perfect sense. Patrick Mahomes wins with his legs very frequently. It's just almost always on a scramble. What we saw against the Bills, we saw them with I think it was one true designed run, and then a lot of plays where one of the options was Mahomes keeps it. And he ought to have that. I would argue he ought to have that more often in the regular season, especially in some of these high leverage moments late in games. But that's the difference, right? Another example of something that I just think we have plenty of evidence we do not see in week 7. Andy Reid went for it on 4th and 1 in their own territory. I would say they should go for that in the regular season too, right? That is a. I think that the analytics on that were anything less than like 4th and 3, they should have gone for. I don't know that the Chiefs would have gone for it on Sunday on 4th and 2. I don't think they would have gone for it on 4th and 3. But they go and they convert, burn your timeout. Go ahead and get the right play that you want there, which they did.
And by the way, they didn't just, try and graze that 4th and 1 and just graze it by an inch.
They blew through it, interestingly enough. That's allowed. You don't have to set the ball on the yard marker. You don't have to tush push, because in the scrum there, it can be hard to spot the football. That's a great point, Sterling. They had in one of those moments, or in the red zone when a touchdown was going to be the difference. I mean, not like it was a walk-off, but where a touchdown was likely to be the difference between Super Bowl or end of season. In those moments, and obviously that 4th down was early in the game, relatively speaking, those moments, the Chiefs do have the unscouted look. They're always trying to win. They're always trying to score touchdowns. But I think there is stuff that they do want to save, so when they show it to you, you've never seen it before. And there are good quotes from Tyler Dunn's efforts around the Bills locker room on both sides of the ball. He's done a very good job of showing some of the things as Bills players talked about how Spags got him on 4th and 5, and then how the Chiefs got the Bills when the stages were flipped there as well. It becomes incredible coaching at incredible times and incredible players making incredible plays. The Chiefs are absolutely blessed to have plenty of incredible coaches and plenty of incredible players.
And you talked about that Spags blitz and how it confused the offensive line and Josh Allen, how they sent protection left when the blitz was coming from the right, because who would be crazy enough to blitz Trent McDuffie, your best coverage cornerback, when it's a 4th and 5, right? That's crazy talk. No way you're going to do that. Nick Bolton is showing blitz. Nick Bolton's going to be the guy that blitzes. No way it's McDuffie. And Osiris Torrance was talking pretty cool. The guard of the Bills, saying they'd been doing this all game long, almost setting us up for this particular play. Just an absolute chess piece. Josh Allen. I feel for Josh, and what made it even funnier if you're a Chiefs fan, I don't know if anyone actually understood this or caught this. His answer in regards to that final play, that 4th and 5, his answer was 13 seconds long.
Was it really?
Oh, man. I saw that and I go, oh, no. It just keeps haunting the Bills. But before we talk more about that, what's not haunting me, what's actually helping me, it's Underdog, baby. I've been ripping it on Underdog, having a lot of fun. They've been doing a really cool thing, too, where it's called Split the Pot, where it's for these first touchdown scores. Kareem Hunt, come on down. Saquon Barkley, come on down. Thank y'all. Appreciate you guys. Where if you pick a certain player, you just put it on there. Boom. He's the first touchdown score. You split the pot. It's nothing extra that you have to put in. It's nothing like that. And they also obviously have champions where they do the best higher or lowers. It's so much fun. So, for example, if you think Kareem Hunt going to have higher than his rushing yards during the big game, well, then it's super easy. Just do the over, just do the higher with Kareem. If you think maybe lower with DeAndre Hopkins, might not be a bad bet right now, and higher with Xavier Worthy, boom, lock those 3 in. You got yourself something cooking right there, and you can do it all right there on Underdog. Plus, they're doing something new now. Underdog is the only pick'em platform that puts the power to cash out in your hands. Now you can either keep riding or tap the Win Now button to cash out whenever you want. All right? So Underdog is the spot. Make sure you download the app and sign up with promo code Arrowhead Addict to deposit now. And if you do, you get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That is promo code Arrowhead Addict. Must be 18 years or older, 19 years or older in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 years or older in Colorado for some games, 21 years or older in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP 253342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That is, it changed. It's changed a little bit. So it got me at the beginning. It's no longer plus.
Tweet! False start. On the host, 5-second penalty, replay the ad read.
What I do?
You stumbled at the beginning. You just stumbled at the beginning, and that was off, and then it ended weird, and you knew it was different. So I mean, they
changed it, but I'm not wrong. It does or text hope and Y. It wasn't like a number after that. So
I believe you got to the right ending, but it was uncomfy. Again, the beginning was not the beginning.
Well, it's no longer 18 years plus. It's now 18 years or older, 19 years or older in Alabama. Like they've changed a little bit with a little bit more jargon, and it threw me a little bit. And when that's your first
you got an
time
unscouted look, dude. You got an unscouted look, and you weren't ready for it. You pooped your pants just like the Bills.
Yeah, I could have thrown to Khalil Shakir, apparently, according to the nerds who basically say that, that blitz wasn't happening. I don't know was it Benjamin Solak, who does some good work.
Solak, who is like one of the 5 best analysts currently doing it with not an awesome take, probably. No, I understand what he meant there, but if Allen gets the read right pre-snap, everything is open, and I understand that why it looked like it was Shakir on the motion, right? I understand why it looked like he was. I'm not even sure Shakir would have gotten the first down. Jalen Watson was closing in if he would have gotten the ball out there. But Josh Allen did what he, after the snap at least. Post-snap, Josh Allen did everything you could ask him to do, and the ball hit Dalton Kincaid in the hands. Also would have been a very, very tough play for Kincaid. But that's 4th and 5 to go to the Super Bowl, man. That's the margin a lot of the times.
I do want to bring this up. With Spagnolo waiting the entire game to drop that specific play, right? That's basically what Osiris Torrance said, as well as, Josh Allen, how they were giving him these different looks. And then that was the culmination of all the looks rolled into one to really confuse them when they needed it most. But how many DCs do that? Because I don't think there really are. I don't know of another DC who has the stones to do that. Because you are sending Trent McDuffie. You're sending, I think, Justin Reed as well, right? You're dropping Nick Bolton into coverage against Khalil Shakir, basically one-on-one. You're taking your best coverage player in Trent McDuffie. Justin Reed's been a lot better in coverage this year than in previous seasons, by the way. Just throwing that out there. And you're bringing those 2 guys, and if it doesn't work and Kincaid catches that ball, everyone's saying is, how the bleep are those the guys you sent? How the bleep are you sending Trent McDuffie when the game is on the line? But I think the only person who does that is Steve Spagnolo, because if he does and it doesn't work, he's okay talking to the media. He's okay saying, yeah, but this is how I got these rings. This is who I am. I'm not changing. If you're a different DC and that doesn't work and you have to now talk to the media and you don't have the rings to back that up, you might be getting canned. I think Spags has the stones to back it up, the rings to back it up. So I can't think of another DC who draws up that diabolical of a play, but also runs that play in that instance.
Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, Flores is the only other guy who I think gets that sort of same like blitzing mastermind kind of MO and has not rings, but experience to back it up. And the thing that I would say is similar with Flores, that's absolutely true for Spags, is that it is the definition of what they do. For Steve Spagnolo, a blitz like that, we remember like the pressure leaving Jamar Chase alone on the sideline and saying, okay, this is how we're going to live or die by this particular sword here. I hope that people would not have second guessed, like, again, why are you sending McDuffie and Justin Reed in this situation? Because that's the point. That was also the bet there was that Josh Allen, not in so many words, but that Josh Allen would look around and go, well, they're probably not going to send Justin Reed and Trent McDuffie here. You know, here's what we've seen on tape. Here's what we've seen earlier in the game. Here's what I see right now. I think we want to half slide to the left, and you got to account for Chris Jones and said, Hut. George Karlaftis is hitting me. Here's the ball. And again, the fact that that almost worked was just, I think, a testament to what both teams can do when the game is absolutely on the line like that. It wasn't over then. It got a little sweaty still for a minute or two after that. But it's quintessential Spags. It's quintessential Chiefs defense and quintessential Josh Allen. And I don't even mean this as a joke. Quintessentially makes a great play, made some great plays throughout the day, and then came up just short. That's quintessential Josh Allen against the Chiefs.
When it comes to what the Chiefs defense did in this game, they really took away Josh Allen's legs. They were not allowing him to be the guy to beat Kansas City. James Cook was very, very efficient on the ground, almost like the Ravens game the year prior. They somewhat got away from that. One, were you surprised the Bills went away from the run when it was so effective? And two, it almost gave me a little bit of confidence. I know James Cook had a good day. I know Joe Mixon had a good day the week prior. The Chiefs rushing defense has not quite been the same as it was earlier on in the season, but I do think there is something to where the Chiefs just try and take away your biggest strength. Because in today's NFL, there's so many good players, so many ways the offense is set up to be more advantageous than the defense really is, right? So you can't take away everyone's strength. Just take away the number one thing. And so I think if the Chiefs wanted to take away Saquon, if that's what they focused on, I think they could. But that's a little maybe conversation down the road here. But when it came to what the Chiefs did in this game, what was your biggest takeaway? What did you see overall?
I think I'm surprised to look at the box score and see James Cook with 13 carries. To your point, it felt like there was that stretch, I believe it was the third quarter, where Josh Allen didn't throw a pass beyond the sticks for like 12 plays. Didn't throw a pass at all for like 8 plays. I might be a play or two off on some of the specifics there. What the Bills ended up trying to do, and it was working relatively. The Bills were moving the ball, and that third quarter was really bad for the Chiefs offense. And luckily the defense was able to be strong enough not to allow it to totally tank where the Chiefs were at that point. But whatever that stretch was where they were just running the ball constantly and Allen was not pushing the ball downfield, that felt a little bit like both teams kind of settling into, okay, so you're going to let us do this, but we're only going to do this. And so if we try to push the ball again, what's going to happen there? That's the chess match of it all. Like I know it's a little bit counterintuitive to say the Chiefs gave up 29 points, and I think the defense had a pretty darn good day. But all in all, I kind of do, especially if any of those turnover-worthy plays go the other direction. Not just like the fumbles that get immediately recovered, but there were 2 passes that hit Brian Cook in the hands in the first act of the game. The first drive nearly ended in a Josh Allen pick, and it was still a good. It was 3 and out, I think. But the defense overall, I think, did not have its best results in many ways because they didn't create the turnovers from turnover-worthy plays. But all in all, Yeah, I am a little surprised James Cook didn't end up getting the ball a little bit more. If he comes down a half inch in front of the goal line instead of scoring that touchdown, the vibes are completely different about how well the Chiefs defended him, I believe. But I will take that effort given the competition there, given how good Josh Allen is. And again, to your point, there was a lot of spying on him and with a lot of different players. You can go through the game. I didn't get to go through and purely count this, but rewatching it yesterday, Bolton, Chanel, Reed for sure. And then I think there were a handful of other plays. I think maybe Jaden Hicks got a few. They were trying to show him enough different stuff to make him second guess, and you keep him in the pocket and trust your secondary. Yeah, Najee Johnson got a few times. Hell, Trent McDuffie got because he's not 6'3". Sometimes it happens, but all in all, I was content with that from the defense, certainly in crunch time.
Yeah, I think the defense actually played really, really good, which again, going to your point there, when you give it 29 points, it almost seems like a fallacy. You're like, how great could the defense have been? But they were so clutch. I think it was situational football more than anything else is where they really made their mark. Obviously, the Josh Allen fourth down stop, but in general, the 2-point conversions as well. What the Bills were 0 for 3 or 0 for 2 on 2-point conversions, correct? 0 for 2?
Yes.
So, like, situational football for the defense, I thought was the strong suit. And again, sometimes you tip your cap. You're talking about Trent McDuffie because he's not 6'3", but it's true. I saw that he had 0.5 yards of separation.
Yeah.
0.5.
Yeah. You don't get away from him. All you can do is go over him. It's the only thing you can try. And the Bills did it.
And have a completely perfect throw. Sometimes you tip your cap. It's why he's the second best quarterback in the NFL. How about James Cook scoring on that touchdown as well? When he gets drilled by Reed and by Nick Bolton, somehow his forearm does not go down, his knee doesn't go down, and he's still able to score. So at some point, you just have to tip your cap and say, this is a reason why they are in the AFC Championship game. I think the defense overall played a really good game. They were just playing a really good team. Before we move on to some of the offense here, what about George Karlaftis, man? He is just a playoff madman. He's been so impactful. Mike Dana and some of the role players, Turk Wharton, yet again, my thoughts on Turk, how much I loved him, especially since Charles Omenihu has come back. But I really think it's these role players who we may have had some questions about. And I don't want to call Karlaftis a role player. That's not necessarily what I'm trying to do, but like the Turks, the Omenihus, the FAUs, the 6 snaps he gets a game that all 6 seemingly are valuable snaps. The role that Mike Pinnell plays, the occasional Derek Nottie snap where you're like, oh, wow, he actually plugged that hole pretty nice right there. Like, what have you made of this defensive line along with the emergence of George Karlaftis?
I've had a similar process to you. I think I said on air last night, I think I said role players. Well, really, the players who are in roles. Because you're right. Calling George Karlaftis a role player is not fair. He plays 300% of the snaps every game. So he's not a role player in the usage sense, but he's also not the star of that line. That's Chris Jones. I'm going to sound I'm going to sound negative for a second, which I like to. I like to prove the positive with the negative for some reason. I don't know why. But George Karlaftis against the Texans, it was 3 sacks. 2 of them were against tight ends, and then one of them, I think, was opposite of Chris Jones. It was opposite of Chris Jones' double team, I think is what it was. I can't remember the specifics of that one. But yeah, but good matchups for Karlaftis and good plays. In this game, you have Spags throwing, just shaking it up and rolling the Yahtzee dice and seeing what comes up. And then Chris Jones is the only thing that the Bills can really plan for, right? I mean, that's really reductive, but it starts with Chris Jones, and then Spags is doing all this other stuff around him. So I think if you're Buffalo, your order of operations goes Chris Jones, Spags, and co, right? I think that's kind of how you're feeling it out. What the Chiefs did not get for a long chunk of the regular season was someone who could take advantage of the opportunities that a Jones, Spags, somebody else has to beat us game plan. And that's what George Karlaftis has done these last 2 weeks. He also had a great hustle play to save a first down, maybe a touchdown, just getting to the feet on, I can't remember even who it was, but on that screen to the right, he peels off, and he, again, just like a great hustle play. I struggle with not sounding negative by not wanting to make George Karlaftis sound like he's Myles Garrett, because he's not. That's not how he wins. It's not how he plays. But Karlaftis is a tremendously valuable, tremendously useful player in this defense who, especially in the playoffs, seems to take the most advantage of being Chris Jones's teammate. Like, I don't think George Karlaftis would disagree with the idea that his career has been made easier and more productive and more in the spotlight, and has benefited in so many ways by playing alongside Chris Jones, playing on the same defensive line as someone who demands the attention that Chris Jones demands. But to Karlaftis's complete credit, I don't want to discredit a thing he's done. He's taken advantage of those moments. That is hard to do. So again, like, when we talk about Karlaftis being like an effort player and a guy who wins with his motor, and he's also like had some good reps, you can't be reductive. He is a damn good football player and really useful on this defensive line. And if the Chiefs pay him like whatever fair market value is for the type of player that he is, I will not be mad about that. I don't know if another team is going to want to pay him more. I don't know. That's something for after the Super Bowl and down the line. But he absolutely deserves the credit that he's getting from all of this. I just think you have to also package it with Jones and Spags, because, spoiler alert, everybody, I trust that we got ball knowers in the Arrowhead Addict chat. It's a team sport. Team defense is a real thing. Charles Omenihu matters. Mike Dana matters. Turk Wharton, Mike Pinnell, Derek Nottie matters. You can't have any of those guys get blown off the ball, or else you've lost the play already. It's why the sport's so freaking fun.
Yeah. All right. Offensively, Andy Reid talked about it. They had one play that they loved more than any other, and if they saw the right coverage, they were going to run it. If it was man, I believe is what they talked about, and if they saw the right look, then they're going to use this play to Samaje Perine. They saw the look, they ran the play, game over. That to me is just, Andy always has the joker. He always has the ace just right in here, just holding it whenever you need it. It could be a play from 1933. It could be just something as simple as these three guys go this way and Samaje is going to clear out underneath on almost a fake pick type of play, right? Yep. It's just so impressive, the play calling, but also coupled kind of with the defense as well, knowing your role. These role players. It wasn't the first rounder Xavier Worthy. It wasn't Patrick Mahomes having to make a Herculean type play. It wasn't Travis Kelce. It was Samaje Perine, who was released and let go by the Broncos in the preseason, that made the game winner. Just, again, to me, the depth is the most important thing about this Chiefs team, which I'll get into in just one more moment. But how impressive was that to you that the Chiefs trusted Samaje Perine, game on the line to ice it? That's the guy they turned to.
I'll tell you what it didn't do. Didn't surprise me one bit. He's a veteran pass-catching running back who did the thing that Jerick McKinnon did like 5 times. You know, where it's, hey, we think we've got your matchup. We think we've got the space on the field. We just need you to get over there and catch the ball when it comes to you. Get past the first down marker, stay in bounds, and let's ice this thing. A different player at a different position, but a very similar note. Just like we all predicted, the Kansas City Chiefs' most explosive plays yesterday or Sunday, both of the Chiefs' most explosive, longest offensive plays of the game came from Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, look, I don't want to just like go back to talk about how genius I am. I didn't think about it this hard at the time, but like when he got cut, I tweeted like, this makes sense for the Chiefs, right? That's the short version. If Rashee Rice gets suspended, we'll see. Obviously, Rice ended up getting hurt, not suspended, so that was even more relevant. But the responses at that time were, he's washed. The Patriots didn't even win. Did you even watch the games last year? Are you insane? That's one that stuck with me. I don't know why. Are you insane? No, man, we overthink this. The Chiefs' leading wide receiver 2 years ago became available and knows the offense and clearly had the trust of Patrick Mahomes. And he had a terrible year dealing with injuries and bad quarterback play and a bad offense. It's going to cost you 75 cents to bring him in and see if this is going to work for you. Did it work? Well, here you are now when he just finds himself in grass with plenty of grass in front of him. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is going to deliver the football to Juju Smith-Schuster in the playoffs. He's done it before. He'll do it again. There's no hesitation there. There's no hesitation delivering the ball to Justin Watson on a 2-point conversion. Look, I have long wished for maybe less Justin Watson, just sort of in general, because I think there are more dynamic players on this team I'd like to see get a little more work. Playoffs got here, you saw a lot less Justin Watson and also less DeAndre Hopkins, who Patrick Mahomes also trusts, by the way. But when Justin Watson is the guy who comes open in the back of the end zone and you have to complete this pass, this is your only chance here, Of course, Patrick Mahomes is going to go to him. Xavier Worthy, as a rookie, yes, there's obvious trust there. Apparently, Xavier Worthy is the first guy since 5'10" Tyreek Hill to earn jump ball privileges with Patrick Mahomes. I'm as surprised as you are.
He's a big-bodied receiver. We know that. We've talked about Xavier Worthy, big-bodied, go up and get it type of guy. We know that.
I said this during the game. My Xavier Worthy receipts are really, really good. I liked him pre-draft. I was thrilled at the draft pick. And even when the Chiefs did the trade up for him, I was high on him when the rest of the world was low on him earlier in the season. And Patrick Mahomes was throwing all these toe tapper balls. I have a great history with Xavier Worthy being a great football player. I really feel good about my path on that. But man, you could scrub through every one of my social media feeds forever, and you are not going to find me talking about Xavier Worthy being a jump ball winner in this offense. That is not what I had on my note card.
Mine wasn't quite as good as yours. Right when it happened, I was befuddled because I'm like, they're going to draft this guy. They always go with a small guy. If they're going to do that, give me Ladd McConkey. Well, Ladd McConkey's been really good lately. So
really
at least I'm not that wrong. But in this particular offense, and I came to this conclusion pretty quick. Again, I also thought Rashee Rice was going to be a huge factor, but I thought Rashee and Xavier would play really well with each other. I thought Ladd McConkey was a little redundant with what Rashee Rice would do. I thought they'd play a similar style of role. I love what Xavier Worthy has brought, and he's brought a lot more than I thought. My dog's in the background.
What's Bailey bringing? What's Bailey bringing?
He's just trying to get comfy on the daybed.
Dude, get a little dig in there. Really get that comfy. We're gonna get a little spin and a flop down. This is good TV right here.
This is he's spinning, he's scratching. I'm calling both games. And he's still scratching. Wow, dude.
Is he aware of the fact that he can't really dig up that couch cushion? Like he's got to get. Oh, Richard's getting us a tight zoom. Thank you. You can totally cover me up to get this if you need to. I don't
go down.
Actually, someone should screenshot Sterling's face over my name there. But we should do the show like this.
Do I need to just go down like this? Is that helpful?
That's great. Yeah. That's great.
Spinning. Bam.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Bailey. Nice.
Bro, this is a dog-friendly show.
Very dog-friendly show because the Chiefs are those dogs, dog. But back to my point of...
I have a buffalo in my living room. Let me know when you want me to bring it in. It is destroying my house.
Back to my point, the defense was incredible, but it's the depth pieces of this entire team that really stands out to me. It's not just the Chris Jones and Travis and Patrick and Andy. They're going to get their love. We know this. But even offensively, how many teams can go through 4 left tackles in a season and still be in the Super Bowl? I know one was Joe Tooney, but that goes to the versatility that the Chiefs really
that counts. No, that don't give up any ground on that. That counts. They played 4 tackles.
So to me, I think, trusting Caliendo, who for the most part had a fine game at one point, Phillips did pick him up like me, and his legs were off the ground, and it was almost like Fred Flintstoning in the air. But
can I do my prove a positive with a negative thing again?
Yes.
That was the go-ahead field goal drive. I think it was first down, Caliendo got baby walked, and then third down, Joe Tooney lost as fast as I've ever seen him lose at tackle. And it was 2 plays that were like, oh, God, this is what we were. I think second down, Taylor got kind of whipped around the outside pretty fast because that's when Mahomes was trying to go to Worthy, and I think he was like getting in the lane. I wrote down in my notes, like, this is pregame when I said the thing I'm most worried about is the O-line, or the thing that I would want to guarantee a good performance from would be the O-line, would be because if that was happening all game, I think the Chiefs would have lost that football game.
Yeah.
And the first time I noticed it was on what ended up being the go-ahead field goal drive.
Yeah. I want to give a huge shout out to Juwan Taylor. That first touchdown drive that Kareem Hunt scored on, and Drew, I see that where it says a Kansas City. I was really impressed with the Chiefs' first drive of the game. Very crisp. I want to get to that first drive in a second, as well as what Chris said. I'm worried about our receivers getting separation in a sticky zone and O-line holding up long enough to let them work. Chris, I think it's a good question. We can get to that one too. I don't want to get too much into the game itself because we'll have basically 2 weeks, but I still want to at least bring that up. But that first drive was great, and I think Juwan Taylor deserves a ton of credit. For as critical as I've been of the contract of Juwan Taylor, he's becoming the Frank Clark of this Chiefs team at this point, where the contract is too much. It's overblown. It's inflated. The production during the regular season is not quite what you want. He's a fine player in the regular season, but clearly not up to the contract. Then the postseason rolls around and you go, this is why they're paying this guy that much money. Because I thought Jawan Taylor was absolutely excellent, just how Frank Clark was excellent in the playoffs. Jawan on that pull to the left to open up that Kareem Hunt rushing touchdown was insane. I love Lane Johnson. There's a lot of great right tackles in football, but I don't know how many are athletic enough, who are quick enough, who have the feet who are able to make that happen. Like, I loved Andrew Wiley. Wiley was not making that play. No chance. Like Jawan Taylor's athleticism was the reason why Kareem Hunt scored that first touchdown. I just found that so impressive to me. That play opened up a lot of things later on in the game with Patrick running the football as well. Just this is why you might see and why the Chiefs value, which I'm coming to the conclusion of now. Obviously, let's be patient. Maybe the Chiefs know more than my dumbass does. But like, why I might not value Jawan Taylor, but why the Chiefs value the way the Chiefs do, because the Chiefs value that athleticism more so than just a great pass protector or a great run blocker. They say, yeah, that's fine and all, but when we need a certain play called, there's only one right tackle we think in football, one of a handful that can make this play. We want
only
that guy
one that's
on our
available for us to acquire at bare minimum.
Exactly. And so let's go grab him. And so I think there is something to that. And then again, going back to depth, I mean, you're looking at guys who are unselfish. They didn't bring in Deontay Johnson. They brought in DeAndre Hopkins, who had 1 reception on 2 targets. It wasn't
now has 1 reception in 2 playoff games.
And what did he say after the game? What's he talking about? How thrilled he is to be playing in a Super Bowl. How excited he is. What a moment. How phenomenal this is. It's not Deontay Johnson in a winning effort complaining about snap count shares and why am I not getting the ball off. You have to console the man. Man is probably a strong word, because no, who does that? That's just selfish. That's a me first person. DeAndre Hopkins, Kareem Hunt getting that opportunity back here in Kansas City. Samaje Perine, Isaiah Pacheco being, I was the starter last year. You know what? I get 5 carries this game. That's fine. I'm excited. Whatever the team needs. That's what is so impressive to me. There's not any me first guys. Travis Kelce, maybe the best tight end of all time, right? If he's not getting the ball all the time, does he complain? No, he celebrates good blocks. Like, I'm just so impressed by this Chiefs team. And maybe he kind of sits over and trash talks Damar Hamlin a little bit, but it's fine. It's fine.
I was looking after the game because Mahomes talked about the second rushing touchdown. And I think Sam McDowell from the Star asked if it was similar to the play from overtime last year. I think it was overtime last year. I don't know. There's a lot of Super Bowl and playoff Chiefs plays in our recent history now. A remarkable thing. And Mahomes said, not really. It's more like the touchdown in the Niners game. And I went back and watched that he hit Kelce on. And I think I've got all my plays right. Sorry if I'm a little foggy. But I think he hit Kelce on that play. And that was the play where Kelce scored the touchdown. And he just throws this huge fist pump, to keep the Chiefs in the Super Bowl against the Niners. I watched that, and then I was looking back and revisiting the Mahomes rushing touchdown from Sunday, where Kelce's there throwing a block downfield, and Mahomes scores. You know what Kelce does? Throws a big mother bleeping fist pump. Like, it's the same thing, because, yeah, man, they're here for Super Bowl. Everybody wants their stats. Everybody wants stats. Everybody wants to get the ball, more importantly than the stats. Travis Kelce, I really think, especially at this point in his career, could give a bleep about his box score. But Travis Kelce wants the football. We saw him hip check Andy Reid in last year's Super Bowl because he, in that moment, was saying, I need the football because I can do what needs to be done here, right?
Well, I think there's a difference.
Absolutely.
There's a difference between wanting the football just because you want the football, and a difference between wanting the football because the offense is struggling. Yes.
It's saying, it's not saying give me the ball. It's saying give me the responsibility, which is a totally different thing. It's not give me the stats. It's give me the challenge and let me meet that because I'm the greatest tight end of all time. And he did, and Andy Reid did, and we're here now. There's one name that we have not talked about that we are not going to talk about today that Andy Reid talked about on Sunday night that I think really goes to exactly this. I think it was a Todd Lebo question asking Andy Reid about the veterans who, again, an unbelievable luxury to say most of the guys on this team have a ring. Most of them have more than one. Most of these guys have been to Super Bowls, plural, right? But how excited are you? I think Lebo said, for DeAndre, for Kareem, for Hollywood. You know, the first thing Andy Reid said, I'm so excited. And DJ is another one too. I'm so excited for a blah, 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 blah. Andy Reid took that question about 3 veterans who have been on this team for a while, who have taken on roles in this offense, who are going to their first Super Bowls. And Andy Reid did not get fully into his answer before he made a point to mention that this is also true for DJ Humphries, who I believe played. Let me tell you what DJ Humphries did on Sunday against the Bills. DJ Humphries played 4 special team snaps. DJ Humphries, I'm going to do a little bit of like a little fan fiction here. This isn't like some report, but I'm going to tell you what I think probably happened. DJ Humphries works back for a year to come back from his torn ACL. The Chiefs get to him and say, hey, we got a left tackle problem. If you're ready to go, I think we can bring you in here. We'll get you up to speed, and then you're going to be our left tackle, hopefully all the way to a Super Bowl. You think you can do that? And he said, hell yeah. They gave him a good chunk of money and a big promise of here's your opportunity in front of you. I don't want to say promise, but a big opportunity. He comes out. He gets back on the football field. Hamstring bites him. Hamstring knocks him out for weeks. The recovery continues. He goes out there and he plays almost every snap in a meaningless Week 18 game to see where he's at. The playoffs come around. He's still out there in practice. And you know what he's not doing? He's not doing the Deontay Johnson thing. Where we ended up is DJ Humphries is now this team's backup left tackle. The main starting left tackle of this season has not been active in the playoffs. Wanye Morris has been a healthy scratch 2 weeks in a row because Kingsley's doing more sixth lineman stuff and some special teams. And DJ Humphries is your backup left tackle. And Andy Reid said, by the way, don't forget, Todd. He didn't say Todd. Don't forget the backup left tackle who we signed late in the season. He's here too. And what that means to me is that DJ Humphries has been bought in. He said, I'm here. I want to start. I want to play in a Super Bowl. But if we get to a Super Bowl and I play 4 special team snaps, if I'm out there for field goals and extra points and I get a Super Bowl ring, I'm here for it. I think DJ Humphries is saying, I'd rather be here on the bench than on any other team on the couch because that's where everybody except for the Philadelphia Eagles are. And I don't think it's a mistake or an accident that Andy Reid made sure to mention DJ Humphries in that answer because I think he's highlighting a guy who came in, bought in, did not get the result he wanted. Has to be disappointed in how this went. And he's bought in. And if Joe Tooney or Mike Caliendo get hurt in the Super Bowl, DJ Humphries had better be ready. And I think Andy Reid told you he will be.
I think what is so, I don't want to spend too long on that because 100% agreed. It's just so incredible. I think DJ Humphries was a great poll right there as well, especially I think breaking down how the most likely scenario of how that conversation went. Obviously, we're not there, but that had to be the most likely scenario. But I don't know why we don't see more of these guys than join in the offseason. It almost seemingly has to happen in the, a midseason trade or something like that because you don't really see a lot of these veteran guys. It wasn't like DeAndre Hopkins chose the Chiefs early. He went to the Titans first and got the money. It wasn't like
you have other bidders, I think is the main thing. You got another bidder.
Yeah. And so I do think sometimes it's almost overblown until it happens in the regular season. And these guys are like, oh my gosh, I haven't been here before. This is bleeping awesome. This is cool. Especially if it's your first time around. Once you get one, maybe you do try and get the money and all that stuff. But if it's your first one, I do think there is something to that. I love Ronson Trait in the chat going, Todd. Oh, I love Lebo. Who doesn't love Lebo? Yeah, who doesn't love Lebo? He's going to get to the bottom of it. All right. Before we get out of here, any final thoughts here from this Chiefs-Bills game that really stood out to you? Anything that you think is maybe important as the Chiefs head to the Super Bowl? Anything that you thought, you know what? I was surprised by this, or maybe we should keep an eye on this.
We've gotten to most of the things that I think are most important, including some of the underrated guys. That was one of the big things I did want to talk about, and we've mentioned an absolute ton of them.
I'll give you one if you want to think about it. If you want to think about it.
The big picture thing I don't think we've hit on that'll be a quick one, and then you can give us the one to really think on throughout the rest of the week. I just don't think you've got any chance, Chiefs fans listening to this. I don't think you have any chance or any option other than Villainy. I don't think there's any other reasonable path for you to take. And I said this last night too, I guess, but so I'm repeating myself, which I'll continue to do because I think this one's pretty straightforward. People are going to talk about refereeing even though we have plenty of evidence and we've really like empirically proven there's bad refereeing in every game. I would argue that Chiefs Bills was probably the best refereed game of the last 3 NFL games we watched. Ravens Bills and Eagles Commanders had some really big flubs, and we saw them, and the game went on, and they're not getting talked about today. The Chiefs thing is all reverse engineered. It's looking for moments when refereeing benefits the Chiefs, even though there are moments in every game where the refereeing benefits both teams. Buffalo had several of those. The Chiefs had several of those. That's what it is. And I know it doesn't always feel good to embrace the villainy aspect of it, because typically villains, not only do villains cheat, villains lose most of the time. The stories we like, the villains lose at the end. You root for the hero. You root for the good guy.
I'm team villain typically, because why play as Wario or Waluigi in Mario games?
But Wario and Waluigi don't the mustache. I mean, well, they all have mustaches. You can still choose your own fate amongst the Mario brothers and cousins, I think. But the villains typically get their comeuppance. Maybe they win for a while and then the fall comes. The thing, though, the reason that I think Chiefs fans ought to just take the villain role is because it's been earned in the purest way you can earn a villainy role. It's good old-fashioned winning. And when you lose long enough, you just get mad at the winners. Again, I'm not here to argue the Chiefs have never gotten a good whistle, because that would be dumb. Because every single team gets a good whistle here and there. Every single team gets a bad whistle here and there. That's refereeing for everybody. But the reason the Chiefs get measured by that is because they keep winning. And having the same winner over and over is boring if you're not a fan of those teams. We all got tired of the Patriots. We know what that looked like, to be sick of the same team. Of course, I was rooting for Eli Manning when he had the opportunity, because I was tired of seeing the same team win over and over, specifically a team that kept hurting me. The Patriots in the AFC, there are plenty of years the Chiefs were nowhere near competing with New England. There are plenty of years they were very close, or at least, kind of close. But it didn't matter. I was tired of seeing New England win everything. So I was rooting for everybody else. That's what the rest of the league is now. The rest of the country is there now. Much of the world is there now, because they're tired of seeing the same thing over and over again. That's not your fault, and it's not the Chiefs' fault in any way they should apologize for. So I think all you can do is say, truly, you hate us because you ain't us. You hate this because you don't get to come to the parade. That's not your responsibility, though, Chiefs fans. And you also don't have to engage with most of this refereeing stuff that's all peddled in poor faith. You're just a villain because they're tired of seeing the winners win over and over, and I think, hopefully, over again.
Boston T. Marty, I see your super chat. I really appreciate you, man. It's very, very kind. I want to end with your super chat. So before we end with that super chat, I want to talk very quickly. Brad, I see your comment about the big difference between this Eagles team is the defense. They are far better than back in the 2022 season. 100% agree. And I'm going to break that down as the weeks progress, since we do have a long time, because I do think there's a specific point in the season where the Eagles defense went from not very good, especially in the secondary, to all of a sudden they went to elite. And that was when Cooper DeJean got put into the slot with Quinyon Mitchell and Darius Slay and Cooper DeJean, and bringing back CJ Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship. That defense, especially the secondary, is so much better. But there's also parts of this team that maybe is not quite as good as that 2022 team. I think the interior offensive line, because of some of the injuries. Again, injuries, we will see how that plays out. Again, a lot of time to heal up. But I saw that question earlier, and I forget who brought it up, so I apologize, but I do want to make sure that I hit it before we get out, because I promised you I would, and that was in regard to the Chiefs wide receivers getting open, whether it's that sticky zone, whether it's, man-to-man. The reason why I'm not quite as worried, okay? I know some fans are worried about DeAndre Hopkins. It was why some fans were worried about Hollywood Brown before the Bills game. And I said, don't you worry your pretty little head. The Chiefs take advantage of mismatches. They don't force the ball. They just take the mismatch that is on the field and exploit it, right? So against the Texans, what do? They exploited the backup safeties as well as the linebackers. So they went with Travis Kelce in that game. And everyone said, oh no, what about Hollywood and D-Hop? Well, then early in the game against the Bills, they ran these legitimate RPOs and said, hey, Hollywood, first drive, you're beating your guy. We're just going to throw you the ball. And then everyone goes, okay, so Hollywood's still good. And now people are worried about D-Hop. Well, what happened when Kyer Elam was going up against DeAndre Hopkins? Well, that's a mismatch over there. We're going to go to DeAndre. They just go to the mismatch. I know we all want to see D-Hop go for 100 and Hollywood for 100 and Xavier. We all want to see everyone get these numbers. It doesn't matter how you get there. It just matters that you are there. The Chiefs consistently find ways to get there, and it doesn't have to be the same dude every single time around. So that's where I'm at. I'm not worried about DeAndre. I'm not worried about Hollywood. I'm not worried about Xavier, right? You just find the guy. Someone's going to step up and have a big game because the Chiefs are too talented. And hell, it might be Juju Smith-Schuster. And that's what it comes down to. The Chiefs are loaded. This is a plethora of talent with their wide receiver and just their core of guys, their weapons. So for me, I'm not worried. Maybe you feel differently, but that's my initial explanation of why I'm not super worried about that sticky zone, even if the Eagles secondary is very, very good. We'll break that down a little more often. I see people talking about Pro Bowl. Hell, Drake May just made the Pro Bowl, guys. So
Hell yeah, he did. Drake May made the Pro Bowl, and Patrick Mahomes didn't.
I'm not trying to get on you. I think we might have a couple of Eagles fans. We'll talk about that. I appreciate you. We'll have some fun back and forth here. For all you guys that don't know, I lived in Philly for 3 years. Have a lot of family members and friends that still live in Philly. So we're already having some friendly back and forth chats, and a lot of family that still lives in Philly. So we have a little back and forth chats in our group text, and it's going to be a long 2 weeks, but Brisco has another show coming up in about a half hour, 45 minutes or so, only weird games. Make sure you guys check that out. I'll be back tomorrow with Adam Best for Wacky Wednesday. A whole bunch of Chiefs coverage coming your way. But first, before we get out, Brisco is holding up a finger.
Do I need to put my new Timbs in, just put them in the closet for the next 2 weeks? Would that be like wearing Eagles merch if I were to wear those in the you cannot wear those in New Orleans. You cannot wear those in New Orleans. It's not acceptable.
I won't wear them in New Orleans.
Biased.
I'm still wearing them right now, but you're right. I won't wear my Timbs in New Orleans. I got to make sure I put the butters away. Got to put the butters away.
You grab red Timbs. I think Jason Kelsey should be wearing red Timbs. I know he's already said he's rooting for the Eagles, I guess, but that's my suggestion.
You know what? As much as I love cheesesteaks, I am going cheesesteak free for 2 weeks, and I won't have any water rice. Price, Sterling, I need to see that mustache covered in beignet powdered sugar. Oh boy, you will. And then
it won't be powdered sugar, but you will.
What do you think I am, Eric Clapton? All right, Boston Team Marty, as I promised, we will go out with your super chat. Appreciate that. Says Slothy style with a twist. I will give the Bills the point they took off the board. Had a great 10-day stretch in KC to enjoy 2 playoff wins, including an amazing AFC Championship win. Go Chiefs. Boston Team Marty, always appreciate you. I'm glad you had fun here in KC.
We went 25 years without seeing a playoff win. He came and saw 2 in 10 days. What a time.
For Brisco, I am Sterling Holmes. Until next time, we are out.